Hello and welcome to Treasury Notes, a financial education program from the West Virginia State Treasurer's Office. I'm your host, Gina Joins. The West Virginia State Treasurer's Office offers various programs to promote financial wellness. Public employees in West Virginia can plan and invest for retirement with the West Virginia Retirement Plus plan. A first of its kind in the nation, the Jumpstart Savings Program helps West Virginians save money to help cover expenses they will face in pursuing a career in skilled trades or vocations. And if you or a loved one has a disability, the WVABLE plan can help you save and invest for current and future needs. Also, SMART529 helps families save now to offset the cost of future higher education expenses. Today, we are going to focus on two of these programs and talk more about them, SMART529 and WVABLE. Joining me now to share more about an exciting opportunity with the SMART529 program is Director Amy Hamilton. Amy, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm excited to talk about this. There's a lot going on with the SMART529 College Savings Program. But first, before we get started, let's just talk about the program in general. For those who are not familiar about the program, can you give us just a short overview?
Sure. SMART529 is West Virginia's 529 education savings program. You can save for tuition, room, board, books, supplies, computers, and even internet expense.
So there's a lot that people can save for with the SMART529
Yes.
education savings program. And it's for kids of all ages, but the younger you start, the better, I'm sure.
Exactly. For any age, but you can also use it for K-12 private school tuition. And that's great too.
That's a great opportunity. All right. Well, we talked about SMART529 a lot on the Treasury Notes program, but we have something new to talk about this time, which I know you're really excited about. SMART529 is celebrating a big milestone this year. Its 20th anniversary. The plan's growth over the last 20 years is definitely something to be proud of. Let's talk about some of the program's accomplishments and just celebrating this 20-year anniversary, Amy.
Sure. As of right now, we have over 38,000 West Virginia families saving in SMART529, which equals about $700 million. And nationally, of course, people can buy the plan outside of West Virginia, not just West Virginia. We're almost to $3 billion.
All right, 20 years. As I said, big milestone. You are celebrating with a big contest.
Exactly.
It's a sweepstakes, actually, this year. Tell us a little bit more about this scholarship sweepstakes. The plan is giving away $20,000 invested in a 529 account.
On August 10th, Treasurer Moore and our Board of Trustees announced the SMART529 20th Anniversary Sweepstakes. So 3 lucky children, West Virginia children, will win $20,000 SMART529 scholarships.
That is so exciting. This has to be a really exciting time for the plan. You've been with the program for a long time, correct?
Exactly, 23 years.
And so this is a promotional event. What are the requirements for this sweepstakes?
For the children, you have to be age 14 and younger as of August 10th, which was our announcement date. And the child and the parent have to be a West Virginia resident.
All right. And then if a family has maybe more than one child, 14 or under, they can enter all those children,
Exactly.
correct?
So any child that are eligible in the household, that can be entered. And you also, as you're putting in the information, you'll need like their name, their birth date, address. One thing you might not have on hand would be the last 4 digits of their social security number. And we're using that just for eligibility purposes. That's the only reason we need that.
And we see the website up right now. How does someone enter
Sure.
the sweepstakes?
You go to wvtreasury.com/20 years, and from there you'll see our official rules. You can click on the entry form. Just takes a minute to complete.
So it's a really easy process. You said there's going to be 3 $20,000 scholarships awarded into SMART529 accounts for 3 lucky West Virginia children.
Right. So basically, they're going to have $20,000. It could even grow by the time they're ready to use it. It will be placed in a SMART529 account. Then when the child's ready to use it, they can go to traditional university, college, vocational, technical school, barber, beauty colleges. Just the possibilities are endless.
This is really a great opportunity for people to learn more about the 529 program if they don't know that much about Smart 529. How do they get some more information if they're interested in opening an account? Because you can either have an account already established if you win, or you would have to establish account to receive the winnings.
You can, of course, go to WVTreasury.com. You can also use that, the URL for the sweepstakes, which is the WVTreasury.com/20 years. Or you can just go to our program website, which is SMART529.com.
And SMART529.com, a lot more information about the program, a lot of really cool tools. There's also a calculator on that website, I believe, where people can see how much it's going to cost when their child's ready to go to college. And they can always call the State Treasurer's Office, because State Treasurer Riley Moore administers this program. So you work for the Treasurer's Office, and they can always get in contact with you there.
Exactly. You may call us at the Treasurer's Office, and we'll be glad to help.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add, Amy? Because I know this is really just a great opportunity for many families here in West Virginia.
Sure. Just be sure to enter early as you can. The first drawing will be here before we know it. We're going to do the early October, November, and December. So they need to go ahead and sign up and be ready. Sign
up now. That's the takeaway from this. All right, Amy Hamilton, thank you so much for talking about Smart 529 and the 20-year anniversary sweepstakes. Exciting stuff from the Smart 529 College Savings Program. Coming up, we'll hear the latest on an initiative to make WVABLE plans available to thousands more people across the country, including veterans. But first, we're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The West Virginia State Treasurer's Vault is holding millions in unclaimed property. From uncashed checks to forgotten utility deposits, we want to return your money to you. Find out if you have unclaimed property. Search your name at WVTreasury.com.
Welcome back to Treasury Notes. I'm your host, Gina Joins. Thanks to recent laws, many people with disabilities can now save and invest without losing eligibility for public benefits like supplemental security income or Medicare, which are critical to their health and well-being. For West Virginians, WVABLE provides a way to control their finances and improve their lives. Joining me now to talk more about this life-changing plan is WVABLE Director Roxanne Clay. Roxanne, thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, we're talking about another program that's administered by the West Virginia State Treasurer's Office. And WVABLE, it's an investment program, but can you begin by just giving us a quick overview of the program and who it serves?
Sure. So I always tell folks, think of it as a sister program to the West Virginia Smart 529 plan, in that they're both savings and investment programs. And they both offer tax benefits and incentives. But where WVABLE is different, it is designed specifically for individuals with a disability. So it allows them to save and invest without it jeopardizing eligibility for public benefit programs like SSI, Medicaid, SNAP, and HUD. And then they use the funds to pay for a wide variety of qualified disability expenses.
And not everyone may know this, but that's really important because before ABLE plans were enacted nationwide, some people couldn't save a lot of money because of their benefits that they received.
Correct. So prior to the ABLE, so WVABLE is made possible through the federal ABLE Act, which stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience Act, and that was passed by Congress in 2014. It had the most bipartisan support of any bill that was passed by Congress. But the purpose of the ABLE Act was to finally allow individuals that receive public benefits to be able to save above $2,000 without it impacting eligibility or continued eligibility for their critical benefits, to pay for food, to pay for housing, to pay for medical expenses.
And many states across the country, as we said, have their own ABLE programs. Here in West Virginia, the plan opened about 4 years ago. What kind of response have you seen with this program here in West Virginia, which is called WVABLE?
Yes, so we're still fairly new. Currently, we have over 500 West Virginians with a disability that own a WVABLE savings account. The assets under management, as far as the amount that our West Virginians are saving, is close to $4 million. And the other piece is the average account balance is right at $7,000. So what that means is they are saving more than 3 times the amount they were previously allowed to save before the ABLE Act was passed and before WVABLE was made possible.
And the West Virginia State Treasurer's Office administers this program, but it's made it very affordable for families to use this because we've partnered with another state. And I know Ohio's Stable Account Program is kind of the program that West Virginia has partnered with. Talk a little bit about that partnership.
Yes, so we know the ABLE Act passed in 2014. Ohio was the first state to establish their ABLE program, and that was in 2016. They spent a lot of monies and resources. Once it was established, they invited other states to partner with them, and so that's what West Virginia did. You know, as stated, our program launched in 2018, but by partnering with the Ohio Stable program, we're able to offer ABLE accounts to the West Virginia resident. And the benefit is there are lower annual investment fees that are charged to the account holders. There is a free Visa debit card, loadable debit card, and then of course Stable has a customer service support line that's very beneficial to account holders.
And a great website. We're looking here at some pictures of the website, and this website has been revamped recently.
Yes.
So that's really exciting because it's easy to navigate for people, easy for them to find the different resources that they need. Let's talk a little bit about who is eligible for a WVABLE account, because I know we say it's available to people with disabilities, but people might have questions about that.
So that's eligibility is always one of your top questions.
Sure.
So real quick, we do have an eligibility page on our website where folks can go to get more detail, but just to recap, you know, you do have to be a West Virginia resident, and then the onset of the disability would have had to have occurred prior to the age of 26. But that does not mean they have to be diagnosed. That would just include the onset of the symptoms. That also means they don't have to open the account before the age of 26. They can open the account at any age. And then they are entitled to receive SSI or SSDI due to their disability or blindness. Again, they don't have to be receiving SSI to be eligible. They only have to be entitled, meaning they have received a disability determination by Social Security.
Okay. You talked about the age 26. I know that's been a key age for the ABLE account, but there's a lot of hope out there that may change. Let's talk about this because I know this is really exciting.
Sure. So there is proposed federal legislation. It's called the ABLE Age Adjustment Act. It actually was first introduced in 2016, but this year we are seeing the most progress in Congress. So we're really hopeful. What it does is it changed the eligibility criteria so that instead of the onset of the disability occurring before the age of 26, it would increase that age of onset to before 46. So what that does is nationwide, it would open up another 6.1 million individuals who would be eligible to own an ABLE account and receive the benefits, and that would include 1 million veterans. So for West Virginia, it's about 36,000 additional individuals that could benefit from ownership of an ABLE account.
And I just want to repeat that. So you said changing the age to 46, that's going to include a lot of veterans out there who've served our country who may be eligible to start investing in ABLE accounts.
Exactly.
That's great. One of the most common misconceptions about ABLE is that it will impact a person's government benefits like Medicaid and SSI. Why shouldn't this be a concern to people?
Yeah. You know, at the core of why the ABLE Act was passed, why is that very reason, to level the playing field so that individuals with a disability, you know, parents that have a child with a disability, it finally allows them to save above the 2,000 mark without it jeopardizing their public benefits.
And we talked a little bit about this, but I want to ask the question again. Another big misconception is that a person must be receiving public assistance to qualify for an account, but that certainly isn't true.
That's exactly right, because, you know, some folks, they earn too much money, so that makes them not eligible to receive SSI benefits, for example. However, if they are entitled to receive SSI benefits due to the disability or blindness, then that would make them eligible to own an ABLE account.
And we're talking about adults who could own ABLE accounts, but also sometimes children qualify. A lot of children qualify for ABLE accounts. And just a lot of variety out there of who may be eligible to really benefit from WVABLE.
I will tell you the average age of ownership for an WVABLE account is right at 36. So it doesn't mean we have a whole lot of children. It doesn't mean we have a whole lot of older individuals. But one of the things we hear all the time is that people are spending down their monies to stay below that $2,000 asset limit. So what WVABLE does is it solves that long-standing problem. People do, instead of spending down on recliners or TVs or just anything to get rid of those monies, they can now put that in a WVABLE savings account and start saving for an emergency fund, for housing-related expenses, for household appliances, which we know are expensive. They can start saving for unexpected medical expenses, and even for the long term, for retirement.
And really creates independence. I mean, that's a big thing to creating independence. Well, Roxanne, we talked about the financial security of a WVABLE account and what it provides a person for a person with a disability, but it is so much more than that. For parents particularly, WVABLE provides peace of mind and a sense of relief, but you don't have to take my word for it. Let's hear from one of our WVABLE account families in their own words.
I'm Amy Wicks. I'm from Beckley, West Virginia, and my little boy is Jackson, and he's 4 years old. And we found out at the 20-week ultrasound that he had the most severe form of spina bifida. We were given some options for care, and we had an in utero repair, and so some of the things that were related to his diagnosis were corrected, but then there's things that surgery doesn't correct and will be lifelong for him.
WVABLE is a savings and investment account program that's specifically designed for individuals with a disability. It allows them to save and invest without it impacting their eligibility for public benefit programs such as supplemental security income and Medicaid.
It's a way to save, and for Jackson, we've been saving for a few years now, but it's available to us to do things for his medical care, for equipment he might need, education and training, and that's what we hope we get to use that for. We hope we don't have to use it for that other stuff, but if we do, that's okay too.
So with WVABLE, it allows them to save and invest. The monies can come from any source: a family, a friend, a business, an organization, a special needs or a pool trust, for example. Monies can also be rolled over from a 529 college savings plan into the individual's WVABLE account.
He's never let his differences stop him. He's a real life superhero, in my opinion. He has endured more than most adults. He's tough, and he's had to conquer a lot, and it's quite a feat for such a small person.
You can see what other WVABLE account owners have to say about how the plan has helped them. Visit wvtreasury.com. Well, Roxanne, one of the great things about WVABLE is that it provides a new opportunity that wasn't available just a few years ago. Parents like Amy Wicks, who we just heard from, can save for their child's future, but many adults with a disability, even those who are living independently, can also benefit. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So, again, we hear all the time that folks are spending down below that $2,000 so that it doesn't affect their benefits: Social Security, SSI, Medicaid, SNAP, and HUD. But adults now can save. They no longer have to spend down. They can establish an account or have someone to establish the account and manage the account on their behalf, to save for medical expenses, to save for, household appliances, for example, to save. And one thing that we have learned is that every individual that owns an account, they all have different goals, different savings goals, the way they're using the account. Some use the account more transactionally to pay for everyday living expenses. There's just a lot of benefits towards reaching financial goals and reaching financial independence for individuals of all ages that own a WVABLE account.
There are some limits, though, to what can be put into a WVABLE account. Can you talk to that?
Sure. So the maximum annual contribution amount that can be deposited into a WVABLE account is $16,000, but that means those monies can come from any source. So it can be a family, it can be a friend, it can be an employer, it can be a trust, a special needs trust, for example, even rollovers from a 529 college savings program.
And the limit yearly on contributions is higher if a person with disabilities is employed. Is that correct?
That's correct. Okay. So the employed beneficiary, they may contribute an additional $12,880 of their employment earnings into their WVABLE account. So this takes the maximum annual contribution for the employed beneficiary to $28,880, and that is made possible by the Federal Able to Work Act.
And you touched on this a little bit, but what are some of the things that people can use their money that they put into a WVABLE account for? What are some of the reasons they're taking the money out of the account?
Sure, and I'm glad you mentioned that because that is one of the questions. A lot of times folks think they can only use these accounts to pay for medical expenses, and that is not the case. So a qualified disability expense means that the withdrawal must benefit the individual with a disability. It must relate to the disability, but it would help to maintain or improve the health, independence, quality of life for the individual with a disability. So there's not a list because I didn't want it to be restrictive. So we always talk about spending categories. So categories would include like housing, transportation, education, legal fees, everyday living expenses. Back in a couple years ago, Social Security clarified that food is considered a basic living expense, and it falls under that category and can be, monies can be withdrawn to pay for food-related items too.
I mean, I know you probably have personal stories that you've heard of people really using this money to change their lives. I think one of the WV account owners even bought a car, helped buy a car with being able to now save through a WVABLE account. That's an exciting thing.
Yes, yeah. People are using the monies to save for a down payment on a home. They're using the monies to pay for a vehicle, that provides the independence and being able to travel and navigate and get around independently. The accounts are creating an avenue towards independence for the individual. And when you have money that's in the bank, it empowers you to be able to make decisions for yourself. And so that is, at the core of ABLE accounts, just to increase that financial independence.
And in 2020, I believe the IRS made some updates to the ABLE regulations in an effort to make it easier to save and manage Social Security benefits with an ABLE account. Can you talk a little about those changes?
Sure. So the IRS, they released these final regulations for ABLE accounts back in November 2020. And there were many provisions included. One of the provisions that was important for us is that they expanded the list of individuals that fall under the authorized legal representative category, which means these are the folks that would establish and manage an account on behalf of a beneficiary, whether that be a child or an adult that may not be able to or that just chooses not to establish an account. So before the change, we had a power of attorney, we had a parent, guardian, conservator. Now, the individuals that can establish an account on behalf of a beneficiary include a spouse, a sibling, a grandparent, and a Social Security representative payee, whether that be an individual or one that is on behalf of an organization.
And this change was made on the federal level. How does that affect West Virginia's ABLE?
So what we did is we updated our WVABLE Act to be in line with the IRS final regs. So now all those additional individuals that we listed can now legally establish and manage an account on behalf of the beneficiary. And so to date, actually close to 10% of account owners actually have an ALR that's representative of those new categories that we just mentioned.
All right. Well, a lot going on with ABLE accounts, and we saw some great pictures of the website earlier.
Yeah.
People can go to WVABLE.com to find out more information. All the information's there. You can sign up, see if you're eligible. But let's talk about how people sign up for an
Sure.
account. Can you walk us through that process?
Yes. So as you mentioned, you go to WVABLE.com. You'll see a tab for open an account. Even if you go to the West Virginia State Treasurer's website and you're at the WVABLE page, you can start there to open an account. It's relatively quick and easy. You know, this is not an application where you're applying, it's enrollment. So you're providing information for the beneficiary. You know, if you're the ALR, you're providing information for yourself. It takes roughly 10 to 15 minutes to open an account. The second part of the enrollment involves making that initial contribution, which is $25. But there's no fee to establish an account. The $25 just establishes your opening balance. And that's pretty much it.
All right. So there is a minimum contribution. You do have to establish an account with $25. Is there a fee to open an account? No fee. And once you put that $25 in, you can add and contribute however you see fit.
Yes.
Correct? It's not like you have to set up an automatic contribution or anything
No,
like
but
that.
you can. There's several ways to make contributions. You can do reoccurring contributions. You can even do payroll direct deposit.
And as we said, are there some fees associated with the account? No initial fee just to open an account, but there are some management fees.
That's right. So the fees are minimal. The program manager charges $3.25 per month for the account. They actually withdraw the monies on a quarterly basis, though, at $9.75. And then there is a minimal asset-based fee that's charged for only the earnings portion of the investments. And then if folks elect to receive paper statements that come quarterly, they would pay an annual fee of $10, or they can just waive the paper statements and everything would come electronically, so therefore they would not pay that $10 fee.
So to talk in terms that people really understand, I mean, this is kind of a hybrid where it is an investment account, but it also, you have pretty easy access to this money like you would a savings or checking account through a bank, correct?
Yes, that's right. And so one of the great benefits of partnering with the Ohio Stable program is they offer what's called a stable Visa debit card. And that is just a really great way for folks that want to use these accounts more transactionally to pay for everyday living expenses. They can request to receive the card. It doesn't come automatic, but it is free. And they can use the card wherever Visa is accepted.
And there's some great gifting options too, if you want to contribute to someone's account.
That's right. So we're really excited about a tool that Stable also has. It's called the gifting tool. And it's actually at the home page. When somebody logs into their account, they'll have the option to set up what's called the gifting tool. So when we have birthdays, when we have graduations, Christmas, or perhaps there's a special need for like assistive technology device, the individual that's managing the account is going to click on that gifting tool. They're going to set up the page, and what it does is it generates a link, and then they can share that link with family and friends, whether text, email, or even on social media. And then when the recipient clicks on the link, it allows them to make a direct contribution into that individual Stable account. And the benefit is, for years we've had grandparents, for example, that were afraid to give cash monies to that grandchild, afraid it was going to cause them to exceed that $2,000 limit. They don't have to worry about that now. It goes straight into the individual Stable account.
That is so wonderful. All right, Roxanne Clay, thank you so much for being here today. And find out more at WVABLE.com. That's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us. You can learn more about the State Treasurer's Office and its programs by visiting the WV Treasury website. You can also stay up to date on the latest news and information from the office. Just like and follow our WV Treasury on your favorite social media platform. Keeping you informed on the Library Television Network, I'm Gina Joins with the West Virginia State Treasurer's Office.